Our reading for this morning is found in the 66th chapter of Isaiah. We begin with Isaiah 66 on the 10th verse. Rejoice with Jerusalem and be glad for her. All you who love her, rejoice with her in joy. All you who mourn over her, that you may nurse and be satisfied from her consoling breast, that you may drink deeply with delight from her glorious bosom. For thus says the Lord, I will extend prosperity to her like a river, and the wealth of the nations like an overflowing stream. And you shall nurse and be carried on her arm, and dandled on her knees. As a mother comforts her child, so I will comfort you. You shall be comforted in Jerusalem. As a mother comforts her child, so I will comfort you. You shall be comforted in Jerusalem. Speaking of comfort, let us start with an easy subject: comfort food. What is your favorite comfort food? What do you suppose the national favorite comfort food is? According to thetakeout.com, pizza is the number one comfort food in 2020 with a 55% rating. Second place went to the hamburger at 48%. And third place went to ice cream with 46%. Sorry, mashed potato fans, pulverized spuds finished 12th at 32%. Of course, none of these comfort foods existed in Isaiah's time. In this passage, Isaiah mentions the river of God and mother's milk as the comfort items. He mentions the milk, but he does not say milk and honey. Isaiah's purpose is not to promote foods for the Jerusalem Dairy Council. Isaiah is talking about comfort as in spiritual comfort. Why does Jerusalem need comfort? 3 simple letters, W-A-R. Yes, W-A-R. Israel has been through war, and they lost. Due to idol worship and a treaty-shifting king, Israel lost the war with the Assyrians. How they lost the war is not our focus today. What they lost is the focus today. When the Assyrians conquered Israel, they lost loved ones. The Israelites did. They lost control of their lives. They lost the city of Jerusalem. They lost the temple. They lost their spiritual identity. And they lost the 10 tribes of Israel. They lost almost everything. They were down to a small strip of land and 2 tribes at the end of the war. Let us take a quick sidebar for a historical footnote. Yes, you heard that right. Israel lost 10 of its 12 tribes to the Assyrians. The 10 tribes of northern Israel lost control of their land to the Assyrians. The Assyrians built a city in the north called Samar. Northern Israel was supposed to worship the gods of Assyria there. The city of Samar was meant to control the people of Israel and their religion. If the sound of the word Samar sounds familiar, it is because it is the root word for Samaria. This is when northern Israel turned into the Samaritans. It was all the northern tribes could do to hold on to any of the practices of Judaism. This is the beginning of the break between northern Judaism and southern Judaism. A lot of Israelites in the shadow of Samaria fell further into idol worship. Some of them held on to Judaism, but would forever be called Samaritans by southern Israel. Samaritan Judaism was considered to be an inferior brand of Judaism. The breakup of Israel was a bad break. It was a Humpty Dumpty break. They could not put Humpty Dumpty back together again. So far, we have talked about what made Jerusalem uncomfortable. Jerusalem was part of the lucky tribe of Judah that did not get lost to Samaria. The last 2 tribes of Israel were down to the tribe of Judah, and the tribe of Levi. The tribe of Levi was centered in Jerusalem because they were the priestly tribe. They had no territory, so to speak. Their territory was the temple in Jerusalem. So a lot of the tribe of Levi lived within the territory of Judah. This little remnant of Israel was barely clinging to God and their national identity. They were hurting, as in hurting for certain. They needed some comforting. They needed to cleanse their temple and turn back to God. So God knows their plight and chooses to do something about it. God speaks to Isaiah of comfort. Isaiah says God, let my people know their hard years are over. I am going to work with them again. I will quench their thirst with the river of life. I will feed their spiritual hunger with my word like mother's milk. I will nourish them. I will comfort them. The hard times will become good times. As a mother comforts her child, so I will comfort you. The comfort of a mother's touch is a powerful image. I forget which Jesus movie it was, but I remember one scene in that Jesus movie that showed Mary's maternal instincts. This movie spent a little time on Jesus' childhood. It showed him as a little boy. It showed him bouncing up some stepping stones as a happy, carefree child. It was outside Daddy's carpenter shop. Everything is happy and wonderful. And then, bam, little Jesus trips. He falls headlong onto the hard stones. The camera cuts to Mary, and she has that look on her face. It's the look every mother gets when their child is hurt. You just see Mary's heart jump out of her eye sockets. Mary runs to little Jesus, scoops him up, and comforts him. I know it's the simplest of scenes, but for some reason that movie scene sticks with me. Mary comforts little Jesus the way God was going to comfort Isaiah's Jerusalem. Well, Doniphan, well, Rosedale, we have been through a lot together. It would sure be nice to have a hug, God's comfort. That is what we get today from Isaiah. Isaiah says God is going to hug Jerusalem for all the hurts, for all the losses. God was going to pick up Jerusalem and start passing out the hugs. This is the comfort of God. When God hugs us, let us be sure to hug God back. Don't let go. Hang on tight. Amen.